Hi there. Wow. You know, I'm supposed to talk to you today about a trip that I took to Israel. I just got back, and people say, oh, how was it going to Israel? That was scary, wasn't it? You know, it's dangerous. And I say, amazing. And it's hard to really put the emotions and the experience into words. I talk a lot, and I usually can come up with words, but the only word I can come up with is amazing. I say that it's life-changing. I say that my life will never be the same, and I truly believe that. Why do you say that? And I say that because, you know, you read the Bible and you hear stories as you're growing up about, you know, water turning into wine, and the Sea of Galilee, and you know, walking on water, and the Jordan River and the baptisms, and just all of the things that you hear about and read about. But to actually go to the Holy Land and to experience and to smell the smells, and even though it was a long time ago, there's still so much history. And to be there and to actually, you know, put what you've read and what you have in your mind from words to visually experiencing the experience and remembering the story, it kind of puts things all in a different perspective. And I think, you know, there's many lessons in all of that. Another thing is, it was on my bucket list to do, and I didn't know when it was going to happen. My daughter had the opportunity to go a long time ago for a missions trip, and I wanted to go, but I ended up not being able to. And so I ended up driving her to the airport and picking her up and watching her, you know, and the experience from her. And I was wondering if and when I would ever get the chance. So a little backstory on that is, and there's always a lesson in everything, I belong to a Convene group. And Convene group is a business group. It's kind of like a board of directors. It's where you go once a month. You spend an entire day out of your business, working on your business instead of working in your business. And I used to belong to another group that didn't have the Bible and God involved or in the center. And there was always something missing. So I decided to check out Convene. So I've been a member with Convene about 7 years, over 7 years now. And it's been great. It's seen me through a lot of things, and the people that are in the group are great. They've become friends. And, a month ago, Tim Philibosian, wonderful man, we call him our angel for our group. He does a lot of prayer warring and things. Anyway, he came up to me and he sat down next to me and he said, Sue, I am heading up this trip to Israel, and I really believe you're supposed to go. And I kind of put it off and said, that sounds really great, Tim, but I have so many things going on right now. There is no way I can pull out and go. And then after that evening, he was so strongly committed and persuasive that I was supposed to go, that I really had to think about it a little more. And so what I did was, I had 3 other commitments that I had to look at. And one of them overlapped a night, because everybody left on February, I believe, 28th. And it was a Saturday night, and I had already a long time ago committed to go to a very special birthday party. And so I said, there's no way, because I can't even go, because I have to do this other thing in Utah, I'm in California, on Saturday night. Well, it just so happened that the other 2 commitments besides this one commitment kind of dropped away. So I'm thinking, could I make this happen? So I called Tim, and there was a lady friend that I know from the Convene group that was also going, and she was going by herself singly. Most of the couples, there were 16 people together, and all the other people were couples, married couples. So this young lady and myself, we were the only non-couple. So we became the couple. And it was great. And he even said, Tim said, he goes, Sue, this would be great for you and your girlfriend to come and experience this. And I said, So I text her and I said, are you sure? I mean, are you really seriously thinking about this? And she said, yes, absolutely. And if you are thinking about it, I definitely want to go. And so she committed before I did, and I went back to Tim and I just said, you know, Tim, if I can drive with my sister to Utah, do the party on Saturday, and I can meet up with you, then would that work? And he said, absolutely. We would love to have you come, even if it's a day later. So then I said, all right. I said, so the last big hurdle is to see if I can get my frequent flyer miles. I said, how much of the price is part of the fee of the flight? He told me, and I said, all right, so if I get frequent flyer miles, can I do that? And he said, absolutely. So I asked my assistant to go online and see if there was a flight. And usually, you know, 2 weeks before a flight, they usually don't have any frequent flyer miles available, right? I mean, anybody that does frequent flyers, you know this, right? But for some reason, it was meant to be for me to go, because guess what? I got them. Actually, my assistant did. Amazing, but it happened. And so we parted all of these other things, and the miracle happened, and I ended up going. So I got off the plane, I got on the taxi, I met everybody, and they were just, it was so nice to just see everybody and meet everybody. And they said I looked fresh, like like I just woke up. And I don't know why I wasn't tired, but I wasn't, because I think I was just so excited, right? So I will be like explaining and detailing the itinerary of what we saw and what happened during that time. It's easier for me to read that than not, so I'll probably be reading it while I'm showing you pictures in the background. But some of the highlights that I want to talk about, let's see, the first day we went to where Herod was, and we saw where the chariots would go around and they would fight and all of those things. And we saw the theater place that they still use as a theater now, and you'll see the pictures, it's amazing. But to hear all of that, and then we heard about the water, transferring of the water, which was interesting also. So that was the first day, and we get on a bus every day, and the bus is for 30 people. There were only 16 people. So we had all the comforts you could expect, and everything according to the leader, Tim Philibosian, and his lovely wife, Lynn. I know they're going to be watching this. They just said that this is like their 6th, maybe their 8th tour that they've put on. And they said that it can't get any better than this trip, because everything worked out even better than they expected. Wouldn't it be nice if life always was that great? But I think that just God wanted us to experience everything there was there, and everything just happened so wonderfully. One of the things that we received when we became part of this trip, about a week before we got on the plane to go there, Tim gave us each a book, and it's called Meeting God in Holy Places. And it has, I've written in there, you probably can't see it, but what I did was I started reading about where we were going and what we were doing, so that we would have a little background, even more than what I already had in my mind and in my heart. So it was really nice to have that, to follow through and carry on with those things. So one of the first days, I think it was February 8th, February 28th was the flight, and then February 29th was the first day. And it was either February 29th, which was a leap year, or March 1st. But we went to Syria, and not to Syria, but we were in a place where they were talking about the Syrians, and all of a sudden we heard gunfire. And it was on the other side of this mountain, which meant there was a war and there was fighting going on right on the other side of this mountain, which probably was one of the times where I felt a little uneasy. And when I think I took a picture of it, when I looked up above me, there was a military facility that had satellite dishes and everything. It looked very military and very like a protective area where there was some serious things going on. So that, for me, just standing there, I didn't know if I was even allowed to take the pictures, because it seems like it would be something that would be protected. But I just remember how I felt at that moment. I felt a little bit fearful, a little bit scared, and uncomfortable, just knowing that right over that mountain there was death. and fighting and discord. And it wasn't comfortable for me. All around there are soldiers that have their machine guns, and that feels uneasy but also protective. Both. I took a picture with two women, two young girls. The next day, March 3rd, I'm going to go into detail on this one because this is really special for me. It was storming that day, and there was a concern that we were not going to be able to go out on a wooden boat on the Sea of Galilee. And there's so many stories around the Sea of Galilee where Jesus walked on the water, right? The fishing nets that go out and they didn't catch any fish, and then they caught lots of fish because they just followed what Jesus said. And ye of little faith, Peter would step out of the boat, and he was walking on water until he lost faith, and then he started to sink. There's so many stories about the Sea of Galilee. So we weren't going to be able to go, but we drove the bus out to the location anyway, and we saw the water, and just the drive and everything was gorgeous. But we were able to do it. It was like the clouds stopped, the sun came out, and we're on the boat, and they played wonderful music on the boat. It was American music, because I'm sure whoever is on the boat, they're going to play their music. And they put up our flag. That was the first real time where I just felt the Lord's presence, because number one, it was supposed to storm and we weren't going to be able to go. We got on the boat, and it's like the clouds just kind of, I took pictures of it too because it was just so special. But the clouds kind of, separated a little bit to where the rays of the sun came down. And it's like the rays of the sun were like the Lord just saying, He loves us. And it just was very, very, very special to just be there, knowing the story and just experiencing it, the smell. And then there were some fishermen in a boat right next to us, and they were catching fish in a net, and they were pulling the net up and taking the fish out, and pulling the net up and taking the fish out. And it was just so special to be right there with that. Anyway, so riding this camel was great. My girlfriend was on the front of the camel going to the dinner, and then I got to ride in the front on the way back. And camels are really interesting. They spit. Their walk is so different than a horse, for sure. And when they kneel down to get you down, you're going to see it on video. It's kind of funny because there's a lot of movement. They go back and then they go forward, and it's like way back and way forward. So it's pretty amazing ride. And their mouths and their teeth and their feet are so strange in the way they can move their legs, in reverse. It's strange. Amazing critters, they really are. But to be able to experience that, it kind of just puts you back in time, doesn't it? And then we rode the camels to the dinner, and we sat down like they did back then, and we were served like they were back then, and they had just, everybody was in character, in clothing, and in the way they talked. It was really a wonderful addition and experience that I bet not all tours have. What else did we do? Oh, wow. We went to the Tower of David. Was amazing too. The next one that was really interesting was the Western Wall. The Western Wall is a place where people go to pray because it's the closest they can get. And so you see all these little tiny pieces of paper in every crack and crevice along this tall, tall wall. And it's on the west wall. And I have to tell you, I was so tempted. All I had on my possession, because we were supposed to go there the following day, but we ended up pushing this up so we could fit something else in the next day. And I didn't know that because I wanted to be prepared. I wanted to have my prayer that I wanted to put on that wall. And, just to do that, because that's what people do. And they can stand there for hours praying at that wall. Anyway, the only thing I had was my business card. I didn't have any pieces of paper. And I couldn't write anything because my business cards, you can't write on them. And so I thought, you know what? I just can't bring myself to put a business card in that wall. I can't do it. And I'm usually like really bold about putting my business card anywhere and marketing and promoting, the company anywhere and anytime. But in this case, I just felt, no, I'm not going to do it. So I didn't. But I did walk up and take my turn and put my hand on the wall and pray. And there were people all around, and they're praying in their own language. Some of them have their Bibles open, and they're just, reciting scriptures. And some you can just tell there's just emotion. There's just fervent prayers going on that wall, and they just really believe that that's the closest to getting their prayers answered, is to do it on this wall. So that was an interesting experience also. This was an amazing, emotional day, because after the Sea of Galilee, we went to the Jordan River. And they asked, out of the 16 people, how many people would like to get baptized, whether it's your first baptism or, reconnecting and restating your commitment to the Lord. And mine was the reinstatement of the Lord, and I got a certificate. And I said, me. How many times do you get baptized in the Jordan River? And that was very special too. We go into a dressing room. There were 3 women that did it, and there were 2 men, I think. I think there was a total of 5 people that did it, maybe 6. And Tim and another gentleman were the ones that actually baptized us. And I thought that was very special that Tim was able to baptize me. Anyway, we went in and we got our white robes, bathing suits underneath, white robes, and then we went out to this location, and there's a little bit of a fence there. And when I went to look, there was this huge, and I'm not kidding you, a huge catfish. I'm not exaggerating. It was probably this big. And I'm like, oh, no, I do not want to get into that water with that catfish. But the catfish moseyed along, so I was still thinking that the catfish was there. But another thing that happened, I prayed. I just prayed, Lord, I just want to experience everything you have that you want me to experience. I want to experience everything. I want to feel you. I want to sense you. I just want to be with you. So I'm walking down. It was my turn. We took turns to go down and get baptized. It was my turn, and I'm walking. And as I'm walking, right in front of me flutters this white butterfly. And butterflies are significant to me, very significant to me. And it was just in my mind a sign that the Lord was saying, I'm with you, I'm right here with you. And it just symbolized purity, cleanliness, just being cleansed, and a fresh commitment to Him. And so that was just really special for me. And the emotional, spiritual moments are when people say, how was Israel? Are the words that I can't find to express or explain. The new experience and how it changes you inside. And that's another one of those ones. And then you go in and you change your clothes back and you blow dry your hair and you come out and we go on to the next thing. And it was very special. And after that, we went to, I believe, the Dead Sea. We drove through West Bank and then past Jericho to the Dead Sea, and we spent the night at the Dead Sea. So we got our bathing suits back on, we walked across the street, and we went in the Dead Sea. And I have pictures of that. Really interesting experience, because when you go into a pool or you go into the ocean and you want to just like float, but you can't because you got to paddle to keep yourself up. Some people can do it because they know exactly how to, think light, I guess, or put their body in just the right position to where they can float without paddling. I haven't figured that out. So for me, I always had to paddle, and I just want to just lay there. And so when you go here, it's almost like your feet when you're walking are being pulled out from under you, and you got to really be careful because it just flips you up. And the night before, they tell you, don't shave your legs, don't shave your face. Hopefully you don't have any cuts on you, because the salt content is so dense then it would sting so bad, it would be very not fun. It would not be fun at all. It would be very uncomfortable. So they say, don't shave. You know, if you have any cuts, you know, beware that it's going to hurt. So, you know, that was kind of funny because I would never have thought of that at all. So you walk into the water and your feet go whoop and you just lay there and you float. And to get back down is even kind of hard. To get your feet back under you is difficult. It's really kind of funny. And you wonder how that happens and all of that. And I wanted to get the extra benefit. You know, you spend a lot of money on salt products and all of that. So I thought, oh, what if I just take this salty sand when I was walking out and I put it all over my face because I wanted to get a mask, a salt mask. I'm going to admit it, I did it. And oh my goodness, my skin felt so good. There's something about that. I know there is. So we finished that, we went up, we showered, then we went to, they have a inside-outside spa pool area. So we went and swam around in that water for a little while, and we asked for a massage that day, which was really fun. It was out of the ordinary for me. But we went and had a massage, and it was a seaweed wrap. Funny. I mean, they completely, from head to toe, put seaweed all over you, and then they wrap you in plastic cellophane. I mean, it's kind of strange. And they sit you there for like 20 minutes, and it's supposed to detoxify you. Interesting experience. So, where did we go after that? The Dead Sea Scrolls, Judean Hills to Jerusalem for 5 nights at the Leonardo Hotel. So we were in Jerusalem for 5 nights, and we shopped. Every night we got on the bus. We went to Masada, the Mount of Olives. Oh, gotta talk. Okay. I thought I videotaped this because I really wanted to get this on video, because you're not going to believe what I tell you right now. Seriously, you're not going to believe what I tell you right now, but it's the truth. It is the truth. We go to the Mount of Olives, which is where they came and they took Jesus, right? And so I'm sure he was praying because he knew what was coming. He knew what was coming. He didn't want it, but he was going to fulfill what God had told him. And so he knew what was coming, and he knew it was going to be painful, and he didn't want to do it, but he knew he had to do it, and so he was praying. And all of his disciples are there falling asleep, and you know, so on and so forth. Anyway, we were all given 20 minutes to just experience the Mount of Olives and to just, you know, like pray, to just go and pray wherever we wanted. We walked into an area that was cemented for the people to sit to begin with, so the guide can talk to you, and then you get to go off, and there's this whole area. And what they would always say is that we don't know exactly where Jesus sat. We don't know exactly where Jesus walked. We just know that it was in this vicinity. We know it's close by. It might not be right here. It could be over here or over there, but it's close by. And that's good enough. You get to experience what's around you. And so we each got 20 minutes. We received 20 minutes to go and just pray and to be alone and quiet with the Lord. So during my time, I prayed and I said, Lord, I want to feel you. I want to experience what you experienced. I just want to sense you. I just want your presence to be known to me. And I'm going to walk around, and I just want you to reveal to me what you want to reveal to me and whatnot, right? So I was wearing shorts this day, and they were kind of a light color. And after I walked around where everybody else was sitting under a tree and praying, or you know, they were in different places down below, I actually went up to where those cement bleachers kind of were. And before I sit down, you know, anybody that has light clothing, you know that before you sit down on cement, you want to see if the surface is clean, right? I mean, that's what you would do, right? And I checked the seat before I sat down to do some more praying, and I sat down. I prayed for quite a while, and then I got up for a minute because I wanted to look to see if my girlfriend was done praying, because I wanted to take a picture with her, and she wasn't done. So I came back to where I was sitting, exactly the same seat where I was sitting, because I had my camera there, I had something on this side, so I knew exactly where I was sitting. You getting the picture? I look and there is one single olive sitting exactly where I was sitting. I mean, it would have been smashed if it was there before, because it was right where I was sitting, okay? So then I'm going, where did that olive come from? Where did it come from? So I look up above me and there's an olive tree, okay? But there's not one olive on that tree, not one olive on that tree, right? So I'm thinking, maybe it was the last olive on the tree and it just happened to fall when I was here and right when I got up and it fell. Maybe. Chances are, what do you think? And then I looked all around on the ground around me to see if there were any other olives, right? Because if the tree had other olives, there would be other olives, right? Not a single olive anywhere, right? So I'm like, no way, really? Wow. So then I thought, oh, nobody's going to believe this, nobody's going to believe this. And so I took my camera and I thought I pushed record, and I recorded and I filmed up to the olive tree, and I filmed all around the cement bleacher, I thought, and then I told the story on camera. I have a selfie stick, so I put it out here and I said, you're not going to believe what just happened. And I videotaped the whole thing. And now I can't find the video and I'm so sad. So I'm telling you now, that's what happened. And so my thought is that the Lord placed that olive. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I don't know how else that olive got there. There's nobody else around. There were no olives in the tree, and there's no olives on the ground. So what does that tell me? It tells me that, somehow that olive got there. So my thought is, it was my Lord revealing that He heard my prayers and that, He's there.